It's inevitable. Winter turns to spring and fatigue cracks turn into potholes. Potholes are popular topics for pot shots in our climate, where frequent freeze and thaw cycles provide the ultimate conditions for road deterioration. There have been reports of severe problems on I-94, but city officials say the pothole plague on city streets this year is about average.
I would say it's, I wouldn't consider it a major problem. It's just a fact of life in winter in Wisconsin.
Simply stated, the craters we call potholes are caused when the pavement or material below it is weakened and can't support the weight of the traffic it carries. They do happen 12 months a year, and Milwaukee works to prevent them with a year-round approach.
I certainly wouldn't say it's not a problem, but I wouldn't say that we rarely have a crisis problem, because we try to be proactive at it. We try to prevent potholes, actually. The city has a, extensive, repaving program. We do a lot of preventive maintenance, and we, pretty much know most of the streets where we're going to have problems. We track our older pavements and we look at them during the winter on a weekly basis, and we try to get out and get the holes patched before we get a lot of citizens calling us. But obviously with 1,400 miles of streets, we can't look at every street every day, and we do depend on citizens to help us out.
To report a pothole, call 286-3431, or you can dial star DPW on a cellular One telephone for a free call to street maintenance. When is a pothole officially not a pothole? When it's a utility cut. 10,000 such permits are issued each year, and some aren't repaired properly.
Water department might make a cut in the road to repair a main break. It may be a service leak, something of that type. They'll make an actual excavation in the road. They'll do their repairs, put back some stone, and put back temporary asphalt. And then that eventually will settle, especially in the winter with the freeze-thaw cycle. We'll get a call. It might come in as a cut, it might come in as a pothole, but we'll fix it either way.
Pothole repair is often a temporary measure, taken before a street is paved or defective pavement is replaced. Sometimes the temporary patches have to be repaired.
In the wintertime, we have is what we call cold patch. It's cold asphalt. It's a temporary repair versus the summertime when we make hot asphalt, and obviously a much more permanent repair. It bonds to the road better. It stays in the holes better. This stays in the holes varying according to weather. I mean, it could stay in a long time, but if we get any kind of rain or snow or real cold, it comes out a lot quicker than hot asphalt does.
The costs for pothole patching have been reduced by about 40% over the last 10 years, although the city still spends more than $500,000 a year for the repairs.
But when you compare that to what we really spend at preventing potholes, it's minor. It's less than 10% of what the city spends for preventing potholes. We have about a $6 million preventive maintenance budget, and the city, which includes state and federal aided projects, spends about $18 million a year reconstructing and repaving streets. So pothole patching is, in the big scope of things, is a minor portion of what the city does.
Milwaukee has its own asphalt plant, producing about 20,000 tons each year. In the fall, 3,000 tons of mix are stockpiled for use during the winter season. 6 patching crews are regularly assigned to pothole repair in the city. Others are added when needed to meet the goal of a 3-day response time for patching identified potholes. 2 city trucks are asphalt recycling vehicles, which reheat hardened material that was once discarded.
We're conscious about the environment and recycling, and try not to throw things away. So there's some technology out there that allows us to save some of the asphalt that is not needed during the construction season. End of the day, a lot of times there might be a few wheelbarrows of mix left over, so we stockpile that during the summer. During the winter, we're able to break that up, charge this truck, heat it overnight with the infrared technology, and then reuse that as patching material the next day. And we actually 800 or 900 tons of asphalt a year is reused for patching material as opposed to being thrown away. And it also provides in certain circumstances, a little bit better patching material also during the winter. It's a hot asphalt that normally we don't have available to us in the winter.
Officials say Milwaukee's capital program, preventive street maintenance strategy, and pavement management system keep our pothole problem manageable.
If you look at our 1,400 miles of roads, there's a small percentage that probably really has, problems where people are complaining about them. We try to keep them as good a shape. And I think overall our road system is in pretty good shape.
Work crews would like you to know that pothole patching can be quite dangerous, as they often deal with impatient drivers. Several workers have been hit by cars.
The workers have to pay attention to two things. Obviously, they want to get their job done, but also they're trying to pay attention to traffic. And on busy roads like we're on here, it is hazardous work. They try to keep one eye out for cars and one eye on the job, but it gets difficult sometimes.
It's unlikely potholes will ever be eliminated, but Milwaukee officials say their approach assures that the spring of each year will not be a crisis time for streets, crews, or citizens.
Okay, square footage on this is 1144. First floor is 728. You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye-bye. City Assessor, may I help you?
It wasn't all that long ago that the assessor's office answered more than 600 such calls every day. People calling for assessments, sales figures, the size or value of a neighbor's home. Since they put that information on the internet in April of last year, the number of daily calls has been cut in half.
When we got in excess of 600 phone calls a day, we knew we had to do something because we were putting more and more resources towards providing information when the real focus of our job is to assess property. We also recognize that we have a valuable source of information that a lot of businesses need, and so we didn't want to just say, sorry, we can't give you this information over the phone. We get calls from everyone from prospective home buyers to realtors, real estate appraisers, public utilities call us, a lot of social service agencies call. Basically, they're looking for information, and of course, depending on the user, it will be different information. With the internet, all you have to do is type in an address and you can get information on that property. We also have sales information out there. So if someone's looking for sales for their neighborhood, they can go in. We have a map of the city. They just click on the area that they're looking for and it will show them a list of recent sales in their area. So you can find out what's happening with the market in your area. So we're very proud of it. It's really improved service to our customers.
The city's Information Systems Division coordinates its internet activities. The homepage address for the assessor and other departments is www.ci.mil.wi.us.
As webmaster, what I do is I make sure that all the pages are out there and accessible. I try to take in all the email and I respond to as much as I can from people in the city, either having concerns, comments, or questions. And it's helping set up new pages with other departments as well. So as departments decide that they want to get onto the web server, we help them set that up if they need that.
Nearly all city departments joined the assessor and went online last December.
Under this page, we have things like the property assessments, the tax bills. You can find out what the tax bill is or what you've paid. We have the aldermen, ways to contact them and email them. The mayor also has a page out there with some press releases and also a way to contact the mayor and leave him a note. We have other departments, Fire and Police Commission. We have the fire department's linked to our page, municipal court. So there's a world of different information out there.
That information also includes This Week at City Hall with a meeting schedule and listings of City Channel 26 programs.
So we look at what information do people call up the departments for the most? We try to provide that information. It's kind of a quick and easy way for them to get it instead of having to maybe wait on the phone to call someone or get through. This way you can come to the page, get it, and it's a very quick and easy method to get that information.
The city's website is under the direction of the Common Council's Information Policy Committee, chaired by Alderman Don Richards.
We all live in the information age, and with that reality upon us, we need to have an ability to regulate and have oversight over the kinds of information that we distribute. We have to keep up with the times. It's the way people will be communicating in the next century, as they are already. And that field is changing so fast that we need to be on top of it as much as we can be.
Alderman Richards says the website is helping elected officials and city departments be more efficient and cost-effective, and the assessor's track record is a good example of that.
By putting that information on the internet, corporations and individuals who have a right to that information can get it more quickly, more efficiently, in a more usable form, and at a less cost to us. We've actually reduced the staff of the assessor's office by 1 position while increasing tremendously the output of information and the satisfaction of our customers.
The city will not only continue to provide this service on the internet, but is already working to expand it.
One of the things that we're working on is what we'd like to do is get real audio out on the web server, so that will include having people talk to you on the website instead of just having to read things, so it'll make it a little more interactive, a little more exciting for people to come into, but also keep up with what's out there.
Once again, here's the homepage address for Milwaukee if you'd like to get information on city government that way. You can, of course, still get the facts you need the old-fashioned way by stopping at City Hall or calling on the telephone. And if you have a library card, you can reach the city online through computers at a number of branches of the Milwaukee Public Library.
You'll want to use a tool, wet it, scrape off the paint so you can unscrew the pulleys. All right, not all windows have them, but a lot of them do. A lot of the older windows have those pulleys.
These City of Milwaukee landlords are learning how to do repairs that will keep their properties safe from lead paint, a very serious problem in our city. It's one of about 25 different topics covered in the Property Management Training Program. The sessions are an offshoot of the city's successful landlord training program, where much of the emphasis is on identifying and dealing with illegal activities. Trainers found landlords needed more.
They needed technical information on things such as lead paint, technical information on painting, on pest control. They also found that through surveys that landlords needed more administrative information, things like fair housing, evictions, credit reports, to better screen their people before they became problems. And that's what was the impetus for starting the Property Management Training Program.
The classes fill up quickly as experts in various fields discuss the topics which landlords need to run a successful business. Among the subjects, apartment leases, evictions, credit reports, fair housing practices, basic bookkeeping, and security.
It's helped me tremendously. I actually got a lot of confidence from being in this program. I'm relatively new in the property management program, and about 2 years. And I probably have about 10 years experience if I count what I've learned from these classes. It's been that beneficial to me.
I just started going to the classes because I was interested. It was something I hadn't done before. And I wanted to know about how to get credit ratings and how to check tenants out and all the things that landlords need to know, because it was something new for me. And I have enjoyed the classes very, very much.
The Property Management Training Program is coordinated by the city's Department of Building Inspection, funded through Community Development Block Grant funds. Now in its 3rd year, the program has trained about 1,500 landlords.
The ultimate goal of our program in the long run is to have strong and healthy neighborhoods, not only from landlords but also from the homeowner occupants. It's a real strong component of our system.
There are an estimated 30,000 owners of Milwaukee rental properties. Over half of the people who live in the city are renters. The idea of the property management program is to promote the safety and well-being of landlords and tenants while preserving the city's housing stock. A major emphasis for 1997 is the formation in certain neighborhoods of what are called landlord compacts.
A group of landlords that would get together and do what it takes, communicating with each other, with the city people, with the building inspection, with the police, with the drug enforcement people, to help themselves to improve the neighborhood, get better tenants, better maintain their properties, and ultimately help the tax base.
The property management training program focuses primarily on small landlords and property managers, those with 1 to 7 rental units, although it is open to anyone with rental properties in Milwaukee. Those who attend recommend it highly.
Oh, 100%. I think it's fantastic. I think it's wonderful that the city of Milwaukee is getting involved in this, because I know that tenants have help, and we need help too to know how to keep our places free from drug dealers and other problems. And this helped me tremendously.
It's been a lifesaver. It's a program that anybody that owns property needs to know so that they can stay out of trouble with the building inspectors. and it's just something that if you own property and it's rental, or if you own property period, it's just something you need to know to protect yourself.
There is no charge for the property management training program, but advanced registration is required. Public health nurses and other service providers are the backbone of the health department's personal health service system. Their priority, providing care to children and adults more at risk for poor health because of poverty or a lack of health insurance.
It's very different than any other type of nursing as far as a hospital nurse goes, a clinic setting.
It's Jackie, the public health nurse.
We actually get to see the people in their homes. We assess their environment. We see that they have other children and other responsibilities in their life, that if they can't make it to the doctor that day, there's obviously a reason why they can't make it to the doctor. And it just gives you another perspective of your clients' lives.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Good. Just came to follow up and see how Treviantite is doing with his after his surgery on his head.
Jackie Ovi's days are filled with home and school visits and work in a walk-in health clinic. During this stop, she's following up on the growth and development of a 9-month-old infant after head surgery. This family has some health insurance, but there are just as many clients who have none and rely on public health services.
Yes, we do have clients that either are not in the system with having insurance, or they have a job and they don't have insurance through the job, and to go to a doctor they have to pay out of pocket to go to the doctor, so they don't go as often because they can't afford the visits. For the people that we see, I think it's important that they know that we're thinking about them, that the city cares about them. We don't want them left out in the open or without any care. I think that what we do is very worthwhile.
Those without insurance often neglect routine health care, but Jackie says there is help.
They can call the health department that's closest to them or the health center that's closest to them. There's one on the northwest side, there's one in the central area, which is the Keenan Health Center where I'm from, and then there's a Southside Health Center. They can talk to a nurse if they're having a medical problem. They need to ask where they can go. There are places in the city that will see people who don't have insurance. Those services are limited, but we can try and give them that information.
Walker Middle School has a public health arrangement different than most schools. Its public health nurse is full-time.
Paul, I'm going to go ahead and take your temp, and then I'll check your ears, okay? So I'm just going to, this thermometer goes in your mouth for a minute.
Okay.
Many schools see a public health nurse once a week, and kids might have to run to an assistant principal or secretary for first aid. But Ann Riojas is assigned to Walker full-time in the second year of a 3-year experiment funded by a federal grant.
When they decided to write a Title I plan, the teachers got together and they looked at what their healthcare or what the needs, educational needs of the kids at Walker were, and topping their list was they thought that was unaddressed, that the healthcare needs of the kids was unaddressed, and they then approached me in terms of, would you consider doing this? Would this work? And luckily the health department was very supportive and said, yeah, go ahead with it. And because different schools have different priorities, it's basically a site-based decision whether or not they pursue some sort of additional services, either with the health department or through somebody else. But it's a hot issue because of medication's now a big issue in schools. Who's giving it and what's their preparation? And I mean, there are some certain kids need to have medical treatments done, and who is doing those, and how is the school preparing those people? So I mean, there are some real hot issues in education with regard to healthcare.
Ann says her full-time status is good for students and parents.
When I carried 4 schools, you would go in and usually give a school maybe 1 or 2 days, and they pretty much have an agenda for you. If kids, they wanted you to see special referrals. At Walker, I have a lot more time. I see the kids over a period of time. I get to know them and the families better, and it's. I think you can have a greater impact in terms of their accessing health care. A lot of my kids don't have insurance, and so the parents like, well, do I send them to the doctor, don't I? They'll call up and say, will you see them? I also do quite a bit of spend a lot of time on kids with chronic illness. My kids who have diabetes or seizure disorders, giving the teachers the information they need, communicating with parents to make sure that we're all on the same page and that the kids are in a safe environment.
Basic school nursing isn't enough these days. The problems go well beyond Band-Aids and ice packs, and always a concern over the uninsured.
Florida has started something new where if you're in the Florida school system, you automatically get health care as a way of making sure that all kids are covered, which is really nice to see because it's hard for them. And I know some of my kids can get glasses and some of my kids with working poor parents can.
There is some help in that area. A $2,000 contribution from the Harry and Mary Franke Idea Fund will continue a children's eyeglass initiative for the rest of the school year.
What this does is it provides funding for children who are screened through our public health nurses or through teachers in the MPS school system who do not have insurance for eyeglasses.
This program is extremely important because there are definitely families who cannot afford to have not only glasses but vision tests for their kids, and not everybody, as we know, has health insurance. And I had children in my classroom who could not read because they could not see. And so we had that program and it worked just wonderfully. So I'm happy to see we're doing that.
Public health nurses would like to see more attention paid to the health needs of all students.
I mean, if you think about it, schools have social workers and psychologists and speech therapists full-time, but they don't have school nurses. And if you think about it, they certainly should be part of that team to keep the kids in school and learning.
Public health is much more than home and school visits. There are blood pressure and healthy heart screenings. Kids are getting their shots, and measles are practically a thing of the past. There's supplemental food and nutrition education for new mothers and infants. A breast cancer awareness program offers free mammography to qualified women. Public health includes inspection of food-related businesses, lead poisoning prevention, and much more. Even if you've never been to a public health clinic, you've been exposed to public health educational efforts. Here are just a few examples.
Come on, everybody does. Not me. It's no big deal. You want to be a virgin forever? You just don't get it. Where are you going?
Teach your kid it's not a dirty word.
They're still around, and these diseases could be life-threatening. Full protection takes around 5 visits for shots. Ask if your baby is up to date on every visit to your doctor. Or if you don't have a doctor, call 1-800-232-2522 to find out where to get your baby's shots.
Boy, I really did it last night. Got drunk, acted stupid, went home with... Who is that? What, am I dumb? How could I do this? What about AIDS? Then Barry realized, hey, I'm just a cartoon. I don't even have to shower. Get high, get stupid, get AIDS.
How can you call them dumb animals when they know what some people don't? That physical activity is essential to a healthy heart.